First intro of the day, even though it's a live stream. But yeah, we're here doing the 2022 AFL Grand Final preview. It's a massive Grand Final between the Cats and the Swans this weekend. As always, I've got Blaze 17 on the channel. How are we doing, Blaze?
Very good. The big game is only a half a day around the corner. It's good to be back on. Obviously, it's a bit of a weekly occurrence now to have a bit of a pre-game finals chat with you, but in a bit of a different format, live, so we can't mess up. Got to be on the ball.
Yeah, we've got to be on the ball. Yeah, it's been a massive week. I know that you have been going to the Footy Festival pretty much day in, day out. Obviously, the Footy Festival returning back to Melbourne this year after all that happened last year. It's good to see it back. How's your experiences been at the Footy Festival, meeting a shit ton of players that I've seen on Instagram? How's it been?
It has been good. To be honest, I was coming in thinking it was going to be abysmal, and I'd have kind of a half a day there. I stayed there all the way till the end. It was great. So many great opportunities to meet some players. You could meet Paddy Cripps potentially twice. There was great little mini events all around the ground, and on today's note for the grand final parade and the players up on the stage, it felt like I reckon there was about 50k people there for the parade and the stage show. So this is really good. The scenes are absolutely massive during this year's Footy Fest.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Obviously, I went there yesterday, but stayed there for like 15 minutes because
Never enter.
I was trying to find a park in the city, and there was just nothing on. It was just that packed to the rafters. The bloody the parking across the Yarra River was just all full. So yeah, I'm never going to do that again. I'm just going to catch a trade in, knowing for next time. But yeah, the day that I went, it was packed to the rafters. It was a beautiful day as well, and there was just people out having a kick, just going around. So yeah, it seems to be sort of a good vibe, a good atmosphere at the Footy Festival. And obviously today we had, well, I'm not sure if it was at the Footy Festival or whatever, but the annual interviews between the captains and the teams, where the Cats and the Swans get up on stage and they just have a little bit of an interview going. So that was good to see a lot of people at that. Obviously a lot of Cats fans and Swans fans around Melbourne, feeling the vibe, getting ready for the atmosphere of tomorrow. So it's just been pretty good. The lights have gone out at Blaze 17's place.
Apologies for that.
Oh, geez. In the
Sorry,
dark.
lights will be on in a second.
It's all right. But yeah, nevertheless, it's just been a very good week. And yeah, the atmosphere has been up and about in Melbourne. Obviously, the grand final returning to Melbourne as well at the MCG as Blaze 17 gets his lighting back up to date. There we go. But yeah, besides the Footy Festival and all the festivities that have been happening this weekend, including obviously the grand final parade, the grand final, it's tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. back at the MCG. Hopefully the weather is good. I'm not sure if it will be or if it won't be. We're just going to have to look out for bloody Jane on, I think it's 7 News or 9 News to tell us the good news, hopefully, for tomorrow. But yeah, it's going to be a massive game. Two very good teams. You'd definitely say two of the best teams this year of how they've been playing. But yeah, first of all, Blaze, how do you reckon this grand final is going to pan out?
I think it's going to be an interesting grand final. I know everyone says that every year, but I think this one, it can go a lot of different ways. I think it could be like a bit of a 2017 grand final where, the Crows were the favourites all season. They were the minor premiers. They went on a massive winning streak. It was looking like Richmond had no chance whatsoever. And Richmond, the underdogs, just came out. Crows could not stand the pressure. And I think they kind of underestimated what Sydney can do. Then I could also see it be like a 2018 grand final where it comes right down to the wire for each team. It can just go any way, I feel like, which makes it so exciting.
Yes, thank you for putting the 2018 grand final there again. Really appreciate it. Now, I don't know, like, it's such a tough one to pick. Obviously, the Cats, they're still on that winning streak. It's hard to believe, but they are still on that winning streak. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm not sure how many games in a row that they've won at this point. If someone can put it in chat or if someone can find it, that would be great. But it's absolutely crazy. And I think the Swans are on their own winning streak as well. So we've got we've got the battle of the winning streaks at the moment. And it's going to be a terrific grand final. Hopefully a big crowd heads into the MCG. I know the Swans, even though they're from Sydney, they've got a shit ton of supporters down in Melbourne, obviously with that South Melbourne sort of culture still living on down here in Melbourne. So they'll get plenty of support. The Swans, obviously the Cats, they live an hour away from the MCG, all their supporters, and some of them just live in Melbourne anyway. But yeah, so they'll make the trek down for the granny as well. So hopefully it's a great crowd for the grand final. Obviously, I'll be doing another crowd prediction so you guys can get in your predictions for that game. Now, before we sort of get into the tipping aspects, I forgot to put the graphics in. We're just going to do a quick preview from week 3 of the finals, the preliminary finals. And I'm going to start off with my preview. So this is how... Well, this is fucking week 2. I've put on the wrong graphics. Shit. All right, hang on. I fucked it up.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, he's fucked. Oh, no, have I?
Yeah, it's week 2.
Shit, I fucked it up. Okay, sorry. Here we go. Week 3 is what we're looking for. So week 3, I tipped Geelong by 4 points over Brisbane, and Geelong absolutely battered the Lions in that one. I thought it was going to be a bit more of a close encounter, as you can see, but it was all Geelong in that game. They went very professionally about it, and they got the job done by a big margin in the end. I forgot what the margin was in the end, but it was just a very big one. And then, obviously, I went my boys over the Swans by 7 points. I was there rallying the boys home. And in the most devastating margin you can get, the Swans got the job done by 1 singular point over the Pies. And it's literally just it's a complete reversal, the final series from Collingwood's home and away season. I mean, Collingwood's home and away season, beating teams by under a goal, and then they come into finals, lose their first final by a goal, and lose the prelim by a singular point. So how's the reversal on that one? The reverse spin coming in. But yeah, so that is my week 3 review. Blaze, I don't know if you remember how you did in week 3, but I'll show you how you did. These are your tips. So you tipped the Lions by 3 points over the Cats. Why did you go with the Lions again? What was your thinking about it?
It may or may have not been for video entertainment. Nah, I don't know. I was liking the Brisbane story. I was going against them. I think I might have jinxed them because I was going against them all final series. Hadn't tipped them. And
what the hell's going on? All right, are we good? I think we're back on. The stream just had a mental breakdown for a second.
It's not working. It's black screen for me.
I think if you reload the stream, it should be good. Alright, yeah, reload. I know what happened there, but my OBS just was not having it for a second, but we're back on.
We're back.
But yeah, so yeah, obviously you tipped the Lions by 3, and then you went the double 3-pointer. You tipped the Swans by 3 over the Pies as well, and you were actually pretty close to getting the correct margin. It was 3 points that coming into the final stages of the games. It was 92-95, and then obviously we scored. Well, I don't know if we scored, but I think it was 2 rush behinds in the end that got the margin to 1 point for the Swannies, and that leaves us with the grand final that we have today. We've got the Cats taking on the Swans. It's going to be massive. So before we get into our tips, we're going to do first goal scorers and Norm Smith medalist as well. So got a few things to get through here if I can find the right one. Yep, there we go. The first goal scorers.
First goal scorer.
Yeah, the first goal scorer. So Blaze, take us through your tip for the first goal scorer, and how do you reckon it's going to play out? How do you reckon the goal is going to play out for this one?
All right. I have a feeling Geelong will get off to the quickest start. I think what I said was Tom Hawkins. Obviously, in the prelim, he was a bit shaky. Couldn't really hit the kicks as well as he wanted to. And I think he'll come out. It'll be a couple of stoppages, and then the Cats will finally get the clearance. It'll be a long ball inside 50, about 30 out on a slight angle. Hawkins will take a big mark in the chest, go back, peach perfect kick, and get the first goal for the Granny. But also quickly, apparently it is a curse that majority of the teams that kick the first goal do lose. So that will be interesting to see if that's the case this year. It has been the case for the past few recent years.
Yeah, that's it. I was going to bring up that stat that the first goal scorer, there's just the curse that goes on. If you kick the first goal, the Granny, you will get done in the end. But I don't know. It's sort of a thing, but surely there's been a few years.
Playing the conspiracies.
Yeah, exactly. There's been a few years where the team that's kicked the first goal has won the Granny. So I reckon we can put that aside. But if it happens in this grand final, I'm just going to start to weird out over it. But yeah, so you have went Tom Hawkins as your first goal scorer. Now I've went another Tom, but I've went Tom Papley as my first goal scorer. As much as it pains me to say it because of what he did on the weekend, well, last weekend against my Pies, but I do reckon that Tom Papley will score the first goal. I reckon it will be... This is how I think it's going to play out. I reckon it'll be like a first sort of 5 minutes. The teams are just feeling each other out. I think it's going to be a bit of a stalemate. There'll just be a lot of pressure around the ball. And obviously the teams really want to get that first goal just to get a bit of a spark going. And I reckon it's going to come out of a pack from Luke Parker. It's going to be a big contested pack inside the Swans forward 50. There's going to be a punch from Tom Stewart. Lands in the lap of Tom Papley. Snap around the body. Goes through. The Swans get the first goal of the 2022 AFL Grand Final. And it goes to Tom Papley. Another reason why I put Tom Papley in is because I got him in a sweep, so I really hope that he kicks the first goal. I did get Tom Papley in a sweep, in a grand final sweep, and so I've gone Tom Papley as the first goal scorer, but he's good enough to do it, and obviously Hawkins is good enough to do it as well. There's just plenty of players in this grand final to choose from to kick the first goal. It's just so many stars on the pitch. You've got Heaney, Papley, Franklin. Even Hayward can kick one as well. Luke Parker, he seems to kick first goals in finals just here and there. And then for the Cats, you've got Hawkins, Cameron, Stengel. Who else have you got in there? You've got Holmes as well. Close if he gets up in there. Dangerfield. I mean, the list goes on both sides, really. Even got to put Reed in there for the Swans as well. So, yeah, it's very tough to choose first goal scorers, but as you can see, I've went Tom Papley and Blazers went for Tom Hawkins. So it's the battle of the Toms for me and Blaze in the goal scoring predictions, or the first goal scorer predictions anyway. So looking forward to see who nabs it. It's probably going to be Jeremy Cameron again, but who knows. Anyway, so those are our first goal scorer predictions. Just going to have a look at the chat. Did I get tickets to the Granny? No, I didn't. I'm not going to pay for something that has two teams that I don't support. It would be cool to go, but I don't know. I'm just going to watch it at my brother's house just to get that sort of atmosphere and the home atmosphere of the grand final. I'm sure there'll be a barbecue or two floating around as well. So that'll be good. Who have we got? Luke Parker first goal, says FF20. See, another one that reckons the Luke Parker first goal. He did it last week in the preliminary final, and I think he did it back in 2016.
Yeah, he did.
When the Dogs went on to win that grand final. So there you go.
Did he go 2018? That's a rough one.
That's a sour conversation, but I did go back in 2018, and I sort of had the perfect reconnection. There we go. I think we're back.
It's pain.
Having a rough one, my internet here.
As soon as the viewers go up. Alright, we're back.
We're good. Alright, yeah. But basically, you're asking about how I felt back in the 2018 Granny. It was absolutely devastating. I don't remember, but I think I vividly remember me just sitting there, just absolutely
Don't get in.
in sadness. I was on level 4 as well, so I'm just sitting there on level 4, just thinking about what could have been. And then I was there with my sister as well, and she was just like trying to support me through it. And I was like, fucking hell, I'm just sitting there in absolute misery. And then one thing I do remember is that I was waiting for my sister because she went to the toilet, and I was waiting for her. And then a fucking West Coast supporter like just saw me standing there in absolute misery, and he just came over and told me. Well, he didn't give me shit. He was just like, "Oh, you feeling all right, mate?" And he was just like up and about. You could see how up and about he was, and he was just came over to me, gave me like a pat on the shoulder and shit. And I was just like, "I really want you to fuck off, to be honest." Like seriously. And then, like, obviously, I went to the prelim last weekend, and that was in Sydney, and because, you know, all the Sydney fans and all that shit. And because I drove down from Newcastle in New South Wales all the way down to Sydney, and we did the drive back after the game, and we stopped at a Mac.
Rough.
Yeah, it was very silent, and my dad was just like going through all the like the fucking free kicks and all like the what could have happened and this and that. I swear he mentioned like the Darcy Moore turnover to McInerney like 3 times or whatever, and I was just sitting there like I really don't want to talk about it, to be honest. But yeah, we stopped at a Macca's, and inside the Macca's, everybody was a Swan supporter, and I'm just like, fuck, you know, I'm going in with my Collingwood jumper. They're all just gonna stare at me and all shit. And then yeah, there was just like we're at like one of the machines, and the like one of the there was like a mum there, and she was a Sydney supporter, and she went to my dad. So how you guys feeling? I'm like, oh, fuck off.
What do you expect? That's such a stupid. It's
my dad,
trying to get a reaction out of you.
Yeah, like seriously, my dad was just like, oh, I really wanted to beat you bastards. I'm like, fucking hell, Dad, come on, seriously. But yeah, so that
I would not have been able to keep my cool.
Yeah.
I would have not been able to do that.
Seriously, like 2 of the roughest moments in my life as well. So, but yeah, you just got to sink it in and move on, and that's what I've done, sort of. Even though,
Not to bring one more up, but what about the 2019 prelim?
2019.
Not to bring another one up.
Oh yeah, I mean,
not to bring another one up.
That was heartbreaking. It was sort of like this year's prelim, wasn't it? Like the Swans had the ascendancy, and then we started coming back.
Too late.
I feel like the one in Sydney was heartbreaking, but I feel like the one in against DWS was even more heartbreaking because
Yes, they would have put a better fight in GWS.
It was at the MCG. We're really expecting it, and then like the fucking Giants just come out and get it done. And bloody Jeremy Cameron, he still haunts us till this day. He still plays his best footy against us.
Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy. But he kicked that goal to just about seal it. And then, you know, we had that great comeback and we got it back to fucking 4 points in the end. I don't know how we do that, but that was another game of what if. But yeah, that one definitely hurt because it could have been. We had so many moments. Like in the prelim this year, I don't think we had too many moments to win it. But back in the 2019 one, you had like that main mark and he could have kicked it, but he just couldn't get the distance on it. We had a few more. I think there was a Taylor Adams one where it hit the post. There were so many opportunities where we actually could have won it compared to this year. And so that one hurt a little bit more. But it sort of didn't hurt afterwards because I went over to Amy Park and watched the Storm beat the Parramatta Eels in that game.
Yeah.
So it was sort of mixed reactions on that day. But yeah, as you can see, I've been through fucking plenty of heartbreak. And I also went to the fucking 2011 Grand Final as well. So
38-point loss.
Bloody hell. But yeah, you can
see...
yeah.
Sorry, I think the 2019 prelim, as sports night said, I definitely agree. I think it was underrated. Not many people remember it because the week after, everyone just remembers the Giants getting absolutely belted in one of the worst grannies of all time. So I definitely agree that's an underrated prelim. Obviously not for you, but for a mutual, I definitely remember it being an absolute cracker.
I'm just hoping that I could be on like a good end of a fucking good final. Like I've been on the bloody bad ends of 2018, 2019.
About 2010.
I didn't go to it though. I didn't go to it. Like, yeah. literally 2010, after that year, that's when I got my memberships, and like 2011 onwards, that's when the memberships started rolling on for me. So pretty much every time that I've been to, like, you know, a good final, the Pies have lost. Like, if it's a close final, say, the Pies have lost. I think the distinctive one, the closest final that I've been to that we've actually won, was back in 2011 against the Hawks in that preliminary final. What a night that was. But besides that, I've been on the end of some absolutely heartbreaking results. And yeah, so it's pretty rough. It's pretty rough, but every year I just got to move on and just hope for the best next year. I think my dad's got super belief in the Pies next year, because when we were at the airport going back, he was just like, why don't we just get a Legends membership next year? I'm like, fucking hell, Dad, they cost like $900, but if you're in, I'm in. But
I reckon it's worth it. With all the off-season signings they're going to get, nearly a player from each team is named to want to go to Collingwood. So I reckon Collingwood could be the next, like, I'm not trying to make any big, bold calls, but I reckon Collingwood, if all the signings go their way and the chemistry flows, I reckon they are destined for a very solid year next year. Unlike my Dogs, who I think are currently looking on a bit of a downwards fall.
Well, I don't know. We never know what can happen. A new year brings up, you know, new things. So, like, I wasn't expecting us to make the fucking top four this year, to be honest. So,
not even finals, I reckon.
Literally. So, did I put it? I don't think I put us in finals. I think I put us in the bracket of, like, probably 9th to 13th in my predictions. I'll have to look back. I'm sure I'll do a video on it later on. But like every AFL YouTuber does, they look back on their season predictions. But yeah, I reckon I put a prediction in that Jeremy Cameron was going to win the Coleman, but he didn't, obviously. So
would have if he wasn't injured, I reckon.
Yeah, I reckon he would have. But yeah, so either way, yeah, I've been through a few heartbreaking ones. Hopefully, I can be on the end of a good one in the coming years. But maybe I've got a curse put on me. So I don't know. That could be the case. Anyway, we're going to move on to the Norm Smith medalist. Now, we've got both of our Norm Smiths here ready to predict. Blaze, who was your prediction for the Norm Smith medalist?
Alrighty, I think most years with the Norm Smith, I think it's usually you got your one main player throughout the game when people think they've won, and then you got that surprise player. Like, I think from recent years, I remember 2017, Basher Hooley came out of nowhere and just had one of the games of his life. I could see it being like that, where it's just a surprise player, because I know a lot of people are saying Selwood, Cameron. I've heard Chad Warner's a very popular one. I'm sticking on the popular trend. I'm going to go with Paddy Dangerfield, solely based off the way he played last week and throughout this whole final series. He's had that real fire in his belly. He just knows that this could be potentially his last chance at getting this premiership medal to add to his stellar career. And if he can add two of the biggest medals that he's been criticised for not having for all of his career, I think that'll cement his career as one of the all-time greats. And I think he'll do it. I think he'll kick 2 to 3 goals, have 30 plus, and just genuinely be the leader for Geelong, apart from the main captain.
2 to 3 goals. I've had a voice crack. Fuck it up.
Oh,
2 to 3 goals and 30 plus. But yes, that would be a massive effort. But you saw him last weekend against the Lions. He had one of the games of his life. So it was a man possessed last weekend, was Patrick Dangerfield, willing his side into a grand final. You can just see how much each finals win means to Dangerfield. And yeah, it's a good prediction. It's a very solid prediction, and if there's any man that can do it, it's definitely Dangerfield. I've went for a bit of a different prediction though. I've still gone a Cats player to win it. I've still gone a Cats player to win it. Now I actually haven't told Blaze what my prediction is, so this is his first time.
I haven't heard this, so I'll be excited.
It's sticking in my mind for some reason, and I'm not sure why, but I've actually went a cheeky backline player in Tom Stewart to win the Norm Smith medal. I reckon he's going to have a ripper day, and I against a good forward line in the Swans. If Tom Stewart can stand up and get that, can get a few spoils in, a few good runs off half-back, he could really electrify the Cats. I was going to go someone like a midfielder, like a Luke Parker, a Dangerfield, or a Selwood, and all that, but I reckon as much as it's going to come down to the midfielders, I reckon the defenders of each side are going to have to be massive. You've got like the McCartan brothers. Yeah, I reckon Tom Stewart is a sneaky one to win the Norm Smith medal. I reckon, with the pressure that's going to be on in each forward line, if Tom Stewart can stand up, it's really going to help the Cats in their pursuit to win this premiership. And yeah, he's been magnificent all year. Besides, did he get suspended? Was he the one that got suspended?
Yeah, he got suspended against Richmond for a couple of games.
Against Richmond. Besides that, though, he's had a splendid year, Tom Stewart, and he's been magnificent in the back line for the Cats. He's been doing it for a few years now, but I reckon this year he's really stood up and he's just looked really good in the Cats backline. And I reckon, like I said before, if, as much as it's going to be the midfielders' game, this one, I reckon the defenders are going to have to stand up. And I reckon Tom Stewart is probably going to be the best defender out there and have a blinder of the game. And you know what? I reckon he's going to have a sweet run. There's going to be a sweet handball collect from a player. He's going to run in from 50 metres out, slam one home, and really cement that Norm Smith medal for himself. So I'm going Tom Stewart. In the sweep, I did get Mark Blitzarves, but as much as he's a fantastic player, don't get me wrong, I don't think
so.
I don't really think he'll be in the contention for the Norm Smith medal. I reckon he'll have a good game, no doubt. But I reckon a player like Tom Stewart is going to absolutely have a blinder and win the Norm Smith medal.
I reckon, though, I do definitely agree. I think, though, he'll either have a blinder or he'll have a quiet one. Because obviously in the grand final, majority of the time in the grand final, a few tags are potentially put on. And I think for Sydney, he could be one of them. Because obviously, I think both teams might just let the midfielders go at it. So I could potentially see a defensive type of forward role played on a Tom Stewart to kind of give Buddy that extra room to kind of move around and just try and shut down that ball just out of half back. But nevertheless, he definitely could come out, and even if he does get tagged, still win the Norm Smith. I do agree.
Yeah, I mean, like we said for the goal scorers, though, both teams have
unpredictable
such stars in their teams, and yeah, it's so hard to predict. You've got so many good names that could win it. But yeah, I've went Tom Stewart. Blaze has went for Patrick Dangerfield. So we've both gone the Cats players to win the Norm Smith medal in what should be an absolute fantastic grand final against two teams that have just been fantastic all year. Obviously, the last time these two played, the Swans got the job done. I think it was quite easily in the end by 30 points, but that was at the SCG, different playing ground in front of a a much more bigger crowd than last time, even though there was a big crowd at the SCG because of the whole Buddy Franklin getting his 1,000th goal. But yeah, it's going to be a much more different atmosphere this time at the MCG in front of what I reckon will be probably 80, 90,000 plus. You definitely reckon 90,000 plus.
I reckon 100. I reckon it'll hit the 100k.
You reckon it's going to crack the 100?
I reckon it'll crack the 100k.
We'll just have to wait and see for everyone's grand final crowd predictions. We'll just leave it at that. But here we go. This is what we've been waiting for to just push out a little bit.
Drag it on a
little bit. Get the conversation flowing.
We love to do that.
The grand final predictions from both of us coming in hot. Here we go. Now, after this, I want to read out a few predictions from everyone else in the chat. So if you've got a prediction for the game, leave it in the chat and we'll see how it goes on grand final day. But Blaze, you're the first one. You're the first prediction. How do you reckon it's going to go? Who do you reckon's going to win and by how much? Here we go.
So I reckon it'll be a bit of a reverse types of roles from the grand final to the prelim for the Swans. I think the Swans, a couple of their youngsters who haven't been the greatest in the high pressure situations, will kind of let the Swans down a little bit, and I think the Cats will get off to the hot start with all that finals experience. They know how to do it. They were in the grand final a few years ago, and I think the Cats control the game early, get a nice, not too big, but just a nice lead at quarter time. The game will kind of even up at half time, and then I think in the third quarter the Cats will start to break away, have a nice little lead, and in the fourth I think the Swans will give it a red hot crack, get very close but just not have enough time, and I'm going to go the Cats to be your premiers for 2022, getting the job done by a slim margin of 5 points.
There we go. There's the prediction for you. Geelong by 5 points. And yeah, I reckon it's going to be a ripping grand. Okay. Says we're good. Hopefully we're back on.
Yep. Yep.
We're back. All right. As I was rudely interrupted by my own internet. So I reckon it's going to be a ripper grand final. Both teams have just been so good all season. Like we said before, it's the battle of the winning streaks. I reckon this one's
just good.
It's really good. It's
exciting.
It's going to be really good. It's really exciting. It's a tough one to pick, but I've made a final decision.
And I don't know this yet, so I'm excited to hear.
You don't know as well. I reckon it's going to absolutely go down to the wire. I don't think it will be too big of a margin, although it could be, but I don't reckon it will be too big of a margin. As much as the Swans have been playing some terrific footy all season, I think
we know this is heading.
I think the Cats have just been too good all season to let this one slip away. And I reckon if the Cats do not win this grand final, I reckon they'll struggle to win one for the next few years maybe. Well, that's what a Cats supporter said to me at work a few days ago anyway. But I reckon the Cats have this one in the bag. They've just been so professional all year, and they've just locked teams down all year. As good as the Swans have been, the Cats have just been a little bit better in my opinion. So I am backing in the Cats to win the 2022 grand final by a little bit more of a margin, but not too big. I'm going Geelong by a 9-point margin over the Swans. I reckon it will be sort of like a 2012 grand final where the game's in the balance, and then someone from the Cats, I'll go a sneaky Gary Rowan from the Cats against his old side, mind you, to kick the winner and get the Cats home by 9 points over the Swans in a terrific 2022 AFL grand final. So yeah, there's our prediction. So I've went the Cats by 9 and Blazers went the Cats by 5 points. Super sorry, Swans fans, if you were thinking that one of us were going to tip the Swans. Either way, though, the Swans, they've got plenty of star power and they've just been terrific, and they definitely have the team to get it done. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Swans get it done. I mean, they've made it this far for a reason because their footy has just been so good. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Swans were able to get the job done. But like I said before, I just think the Cats, they've just been too good all season to let this one go down the drain. But if it does go down the drain, then I wonder what Cats supporters are going to think about this season. It's going to be a bit of me of what could have been and what it should have been and all this and that. But I don't think they're going to let it slip. But like I said before, the Swans have just got plenty of power, star power in their lineup that they could get it done. They could get it done. I'm not saying that they can't. But yeah, the Cats, they've just been too good, in my opinion. But yeah, cheers guys for watching this stream. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. That is all the predictions done and dusted for the finals. Sorry for all the mishaps that happened during the stream, including my internet just breaking down, and obviously Blaze just then
a couple of camera mistakes.
But besides that, the stream went well. We got the predictions out. We had a good chat. That's all the predictions and previews done for this year. And
oh no, Cardi.
Cardi, come on.
Cardi, I've got to go out for dinner, mate. Leave me alone.
But yeah, so yeah, that's all the predictions done for this year. And yeah, good luck to both teams in the grand final. And good luck if anyone supports either team. Good luck to you as well. So yeah, cheers guys. Catch you later.